the sects, he is the one that so prolifically wrote, and the others did.
He didn't write much. He spoke a lot. That's
somebody took the notes.
He had a few geniuses.
And how about they took notes way before they had any kind of electronics? How do you do that?
You put it up here.
Kodesh Baruch Hu sends the right messengers. Okay. We are in the real grind of Bitachon L'Maisa. We've already worked on the Yisodos, which we have to continue to work on and to bring them in. And we're being very nitpicky in situations. We're getting into the detail, the nuances of life itself, and trying to understand and to live with bitachon properly. And we're discussing about a person's life, and of course the major sugya of Parnasa and the hishtadlus. And already for 2 weeks we've discussed the sugya, and again we'll just give a quick hakdama about the process that we're using. The first part of the Sefer is demanding of a person to understand and to work on and to believe and to trust in some aspects of a Kodesh Baruch Hu. Kodesh Baruch Hu runs the world. He loves us, takes care of us. He knows more about us than we know. All of that. With that in place, we have to be very careful. With that in place, we can then go to the next shlab appropriately, which is the actual hishtadlus of whatever it is you're doing. To work, to do, to provide. A person needs to live. So he needs to go do what he needs to do. But at the same time that he's doing what he needs to do, before, during, and after, keep in mind HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's only Kodesh Baruch Hu, it's all from him. Every single move you make, every single effect, every single situation, it's all from him. So it's always a combination of two. You set yourself in the beginning of the day with the kavanah. A dibur is also very good. During the day, that is a combination of the actual hishtadlus with the kavanah, as much as you can muster during the day, the thoughts, setting yourself, aligning yourself, realigning yourself, forgetting, then coming back. So that's during the day, you're working both with your hands, and you have to keep your head on track, as we said, that the fight of life is to try to take control of the heart. Right? If we're not pumping in the proper thoughts, the hands are going to take the heart and draw it down. Either it's going to draw it into a sadness because you don't feel like you're performing well, or it's going to draw you into a place of kochi v'otzim yadi, that you start to believe and think and live. It's based on me. Of course, I believe in God, but L'maisa, I'm the one who's doing it, and therefore that's who I am, and therefore that's how I'm living. And that's, you're veering, of course, from Kodesh Baruch Hu. So during the day we have this combination of bitachon and hishtadlus together. You can never really have hishtadlus without bitachon. If you do, then you're off track. If you ever have a pure hishtadlus without bitachon, there's something wrong. And bitachon is right here. You're not doing anything. You're thinking. You're making sure that your kavanah, you're aligned to a Kodesh Baruch Hu. And then at the end of the day, again, whatever happened today, these past 24 hours, in all areas of my life, it was all from a Kodesh Baruch Hu. It's all for the best, right? He knows better than I know. He wants me to grow in some way, or it was positive and it was good, and you could be Makar Tov. This is a day filled with bitachon. So you never really lost your bitachon at all, even when you went to work. You don't have to leave your bitachon behind. You don't have to leave a Kodesh Baruch Hu in the Beis Medrash in the shul when you go to work, and then come back to him by Mincha Marav time. You take him with you. He's always with you. Just open it up, reveal it. He's there. He's always there. So that was the process. And we have to constantly chazer it over, because it doesn't just happen in 1 second. We learn it once, it's like, oh, I got it. In our mind, we say, oh yeah, I could do that. But l'maisa, again, bitachon l'maisa. We have to try to get there and do it, feel it, live it. Last week, the Chosvos explained to us certain subtle nisyonos, certain little yetzer haralas that try to grab us. Even if we woke up with bitachon, And even if we go to work with bitachon, what happens when a person starts to make some money? What happens when it's starting to go well? At that moment, whether it's you made money right now, or things are going well, or at the end of the day or the end of the month, it's a shas nisayon. What's the nisayon? What do you believe? Do you believe that it was the means that provided for you? And there you're a little bit off course from bitachon straight. Or do you believe HaKadosh Baruch Hu provided for me, happens to be, it was through these means? The big nafkamina is are you going to start with your heart relying on the means, or is your heart going to stay aligned and relying on HaKadosh Baruch Hu? It is so subtle. But this is the Chavos is teaching us. If his sustenance is obtained through one of the means in which he involved himself, you invested money, you went to work, you, whatever it is you did, it is not fitting for him to rely on the particular means to provide for him. Don't rely, don't have bitachon in it. Of course, do it. Be thankful to the messengers.
What page are you on?
125 right now. Be thankful to the messengers, whether it's the computer, whether it's your boss, whether it's your client, whether it's your coworker, all messengers to help you, but never to rely. Don't have bitachon in it. And a person's not supposed to rejoice in them. Of course, a person should be besimcha when he makes money, but rejoice in the Kodesh Baruch Hu. You have to know how to balance it. A person can be besimcha with his team at work, did a great job and project, made a lot of money, or just whatever. They did good. There's no problem having a party and rejoicing with them if you remember clearly that you're rejoicing ultimately in the Kodesh Baruch Hu. Just don't forget about a Kodesh Baruch Hu. Don't start to rely on this thing, this means, and start to rejoice in this thing that I rely on. That's the problem. It's a very subtle difference. Of course, people could be besimcha. These are all messengers of a Kodesh Baruch Hu. We're doing it together. We're growing. A person who's at work, what's the tachlis of work? It's to ultimately grow. Grow in Ramun and Bitachon. Maybe you went through a hard time and you held on and you overcame something and something opened up. So now you're besimcha because look what you got. A kinyan nafshi, we call it, of Ramun and Bitachon. You held on. You kept strong. The whole team's excited. Great. But remember, very clearly, Musko Rishon, the first thought, the middle thought, and the end thought is, just keep it in the mind. Keep it going. It takes time, but it picks up speed at a certain point. Anything in life, you have to do, and you do, and you do, it becomes ragil. You start driving a car, when you started your business, whatever you're doing now, raising kids, whatever it is, it starts slow, but you stick to it, and eventually it becomes part of the system. Bitachon is no different. And he also taught us last week to be very careful about when we help others or others help us, that of course one has to have proper midos and thank the messengers. Or be besimcha, that he was chosen to be a messenger to help somebody else, but don't lose yourself. Don't demand thanks and compliments from people you helped, because it wasn't really you. You're just a messenger. You're an Amazon driver. Does the Amazon driver demand thanks and compliments when he delivers your packages? No. So don't lose yourself thinking, well, I spent so many hours, I gave so much money. You're a messenger. You're just a very fancy Amazon messenger. And Kodesh Baruch Hu is very happy with you. And you should be proud of yourself, but never to demand from another person. And if the other person does give you a thanks, take it as a happy messenger of a Kodesh Baruch Hu. Keep the mind aligned. And if somebody helps you, of course, you have to have a hodah. You have to have a karsa tov. But never without a hodah and a karsa tov to Kodesh Baruch Hu who sent this person or whatever it is he sent. Keep it aligned. Keep it on. And even if you make a mistake at the time and you lose yourself and you thank that person, late, of course you should thank him, but you lose yourself in it, later you could always make it up. Oh, Kodesh Baruch Hu, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. It was really, really bad. It was you, and I thank you for sending him as a messenger. You could always make it up later. It's also tshuva. It's okay. Tshuva is not only when a person, does some egregious sin or something. It's also, you forgot, you need a realignment. Tshuva. What is tshuva? Return back to the admins. There's nothing wrong. It's great. And this is what you're thinking about during the day. then this is amazing. But what's going to happen? You know, I'm going to get a phone call. The person's going to say to me, "Yeah, this guy did something for me, and he really helped me. I needed him so badly, and he came in from I don't know where he came from. Of course, the Kodesh Baruch Hu sent him, and he helped me, and he took time to be with me, gave me money, whatever the situation. He helped me, and I was so thankful to him. I said, you saved my life. You're amazing. Thank you so much. What can I do for you?" And then later, he's going to say, I know this is going to happen. He's going to say, at that moment, I forgot about a Kodesh Baruch Hu. Oh, I'm such a loser. I can't believe it. Like, I'm not a Baal Bitachon. Like, I forgot about a Kodesh Baruch Hu at that time. Like, yeah, I knew that it was him, but I really lost myself thinking that it was this person that was doing it for me, and I relied on him. And a few hours later, I woke up and I realized, of course I have to thank this person, but really, it was from a Kodesh Baruch Hu. I forgot about it. Oh my gosh, I'm so bad. I've received these types of calls. What would you say to a person? Is it right chap the Maisa? I hope it wasn't Sukkot. What would you say to a person? He calls you up, and he tells you what this happened to him, and you're working on Bitachon together. What would you say to him?
You're doing the right thing. That was perfect.
Yeah, what's wrong? So you forgot that second? Okay, so what? So you're not. Let me ask you a question, sir. Do you think that you are a perfect human being? Do you think you're 100% perfect? Obviously, he'll say no. So then, what's the problem with what happened over here? What's wrong with the situation? You realized at first it was a Kodesh Baruch Hu. You got a little bit off, a little bit during the middle of the day. You came back a few hours later, and you were so bothered that you forgot about a Kodesh Baruch Hu. Wow, sounds pretty good to me.
The fact you're bothered by it.
The fact you even remembered.
Right.
You're a Baal Bitachon, mamish. So you're not perfect. So you missed one shot. What is every basketball player upset when he misses one shot? Right? If they hit 50%, is a huge.
If the game depended on
No.
John Starks.
All right. I don't want to go back to something concerning
He
here.
never lived that one down.
Okay. If he was a Baal Bitachon, he would have realized it was for his.
He went like
I'll go upon him. Right? So it's okay if we lost it. We come back. It's gewaldig. The person should be besimcha in that, not in the down from when he made a mistake. We have to also change our inner balance from negativity to positivity. This is also part of Bitachon. We have to remember that. It's very, very subtle. It's very slight. How do we look at even ourselves? Everybody else in the world, we look at them positively. Everybody in this room, for sure. Most people are listening. There's no question. And we look at other people, most people, there are a few exceptions, I'm sure, we look at them in positive sense. Whatever they did, that's positive. We down the kassos for sure. When it comes to us, ourselves, we are like negative Nellies. I can't believe I did that. What's wrong with me? I should have known better. This is a deep rooted problem, and it's not with bitachon. Person's all from me. He's like, no, what do you mean? I'm the biggest Baal Bitachon because I'm upset that I didn't work on bitachon right. Yeah, but you're forgetting that Kodesh Baruch Hu loves you. He takes care of you, and he knows you have to grow, and he gives you nisyona so you can grow, and he wants the best from you. So be positive because he's positive. And how do you know how he marks you anyway? Why do you think that you got a 52? Really, you got a 99. And if you want 100, I'll give you the 100 because he's so nice. He doesn't care. Right? We always mark our grades much, much lower. I'm sure, maybe I've heard this before. If you did a scientific research, you take kids over a course of time, they take the test, you ask kids, how did you do? I bet most kids would rate themselves under. They would say they got a 50 when they really got a 60, or they say they got a 60 when they really got a 70. I bet they would say that, and they'd be honest. They think they got lower. I would say most times, because until we change this inner negativity towards an inner positivity, not gaiva, a healthy self-confidence. But where does healthy self-confidence come from? Emma says it comes from the Kodesh Baruch Hu. It's not coming from myself, because when you deal with your own self, it's confusing. Am I good? Am I not? But if you have bitachon that there's a Borei Olam who created you right now and is giving you life right now, and he gave you a mission right now, and he wants you to go and do well, and you've done very well in your life until now, so Kodesh Baruch Hu is rooting you on, how do you not live with confidence, with simcha? And if you make a mistake, so do tshuva. It's true. And a little bit of regret, that's true. You regret what you did, not regret your whole life. if you have that, if you had a parent who was always rooting you on, you had a Rabbi, a teacher who was always rooting you on. You know those kids, they have them. And even when in life, 10 years later, when things don't go right, and they say, no, but I was able to pick myself up because I know that I heard my teacher, the teacher from 6th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 12th grade, rooting me on. That kids remember that sometimes. You have those situations. So if a person will be able to do that with the Kodesh Baruch Hu, who's with him every single moment of every single day. Kodesh Baruch Hu is the greatest teacher, the greatest mower, the greatest Rabbi, the greatest parent. If we could train ourselves and our children to live with that, of course there's ups and downs in life, but you're going to be on the positive train, I think. No? Why not? But if you're still living with where your heart feels, and your heart is still based on where your hands are, and you didn't do well, so I don't feel well, and now I'm a big loser, so then you're just going to be, sad and depressed. But if we can get our minds in check, there's a Borei Olam. He takes care of us. He loves us. If we're still alive, that means we're doing good. I mean, unless you're a Russian Marusha, then maybe he's keeping you alive to give you your schar in this world. But if you're not a Russian Marusha, then you're okay. Mechaz yourself. Live in a Shama. Okay. So let's go to page 126. We have to give that Hagdama as we start with, as it says on 126, when everything seems to fail. What if he is not successful? So you're doing the Hishtadlus thing, right? We're doing the Hishtadlus thing with Bitachon. We're trying to be very clear, to align ourselves, not to lose ourselves, to mistaken our success with our Kochi V'otzim Yadi, keep a Kodesh Baruch Hu in the picture, like we've discussed. What happens when you're doing it, it's not going? V'im lo yivo'ehu, right in the middle, 126. V'im lo yivo'ehu ateref al panim asher sibei v'aleim. Efshir sheter v'yomu kvar kodem etzlo v'hu b'shuso, o shabalu al panim acher. Before I translate. So we're about to discuss when today you didn't make the money, this month it didn't go well, 6 months, maybe even a year potentially. Things aren't going as you would like them to go. You're not successful. The money's not coming in. Let's just say we're using Hishtadlus or Parnes as the situation. We need to open our minds. If we don't have bitachon, you're just a guy, he has a munah, he believes that Kodesh, of course, Kodesh Baruch Hu runs the world. We're not talking about a non-mammon. He's a mammon. He's a Borei Olam, and Kodesh Baruch Hu creates the world, and everything happens because of Kodesh Baruch Hu. But he hasn't gone into the world of bitachon. So what's going to happen to this person? Each person's different. Week, month, year, he's not making money. He's going to start to lose himself. He's going to start to get anxious, stressed. Depression is right around there. He's going to have maybe even his ruchnis is going to take a hit. His family life's going to take, everything's going to slowly start to take a hit. This is what goes on all day. We're working with bitachon here. Now, what bitachon does is it sets us, right? We trust that whatever is happening right this minute is for the absolute best. Okay, not about the next minute, right now, this minute. Bitachon is like living moment to moment right now. When things don't go as expected, what happens to a person? He goes into crisis mode. He goes into tzimtzum mode, emergency mode, SOS mode, whatever it may be. A person's drowning in the ocean, chas v'shalom. He's going to start thrashing around, screaming. I mean, he has to stay alive. Whatever needs, he might even do crazy things, whatever the situation might be. Not in the ocean, if he's somewhere, he might break things, whatever it may be. But he's definitely not in his regular mind. Correct? And when you're not in your regular mind, which of course we don't blame him, he's in an emergency situation, you start to do crazy things that are not aligned properly with a yasher way of thinking. Now, we're not capsizing on a boat. No one has a gun to our head. It's sunny outside, but things aren't going well in the Hishtadlus realm. Okay? So there's no one's physically trying to attack you now. We're not talking about that. We need to stay yasher. We need to be able to think just like we thought yesterday. We need to be able to think today the same way. Okay? If you flip a coin and 10 times it goes tails, and you're losing money because you're betting your friend 50 cents a flip, and you've already lost $5, $10, and you're starting to lose yourself. The next flip, what's the percentages? Still 50-50. Nothing has really changed. But if you're starting to get upset, you're going to think that the percentages have changed when they really didn't, because you're not thinking yasher. So what bitachon does is it sets us proper. Muskal Rishon, we have to keep saying this again and again. What's the Muskal Rishon? What's the first thought when anything in life? Something's not going well. There's a burial. And he's doing this, and he's doing it for my best. Let's get that clear. If you can download that properly, you have not lost any of your mind. Because when the situation, if you live your life based on situations and your feelings, slowly but surely, this is going to be how your mind is. Very, very narrow. That's what happens. You're going to double down, triple down. Well, I already lost this, so now I have to triple down to make back. Yeah? That's like also a gambling issue. I'm not going to get into that now. Right? People lost a little bit, then they try to double, triple, quadruple what they bet so they can make it back fast, and they end up, in debt, with loan sharks. But this happens also on a regular daily basis. What bitachon does is says, yeah, but the Kodesh Baruch Hu is running this. Only he can do this, and it's for my best. So it keeps the mind wide open to be able to think yasher. Now, I'm giving a hakdamas because what we're about to say is something that needs an expansive mind to be able to think. You ready? Let's translate what we just read. So, if he does not obtain his livelihood through those means into which he puts his efforts, ready? What do you think? Chovos levavos. Where is your thinking? So the first thing, guy without bitachon, I better work more hours. Maybe I have to change jobs. Maybe, suffix, stress, anxiety. Oh no, I don't want to get a different job. I don't know what's going to be. He starts to lose himself, right? Swirling around. What is the first thought? Ready for this? That the Chovos Levava says you should have. He should consider. Things aren't going his way. He's not making the money. What's his first thought? He should consider that perhaps his daily sustenance is already in his possession. Whoa. No one's ever thought about that since the creation of time. The check didn't come in at the end of the month, or it didn't, whatever. Person says, you know what? I have what to eat. I have money this month. I'm not going to die. I'm going to be able to pay my bills. I have. I'm okay. Thank you. Maybe next month you'll allow me to make some money. Just because it didn't come in right now, that doesn't mean the Kodesh didn't already give it to you. We have to get out of this mindset that when we do Ishtadlus, the money gets put into our hands. Right? That's what Chovos was teaching us. It is not the emes. You go do Ishtadlus because that's what's best for you. Keeps you out of trouble, at the very least. And it helps you grow in your Yirmi Ginsberg, it helps you grow in your life, in your social, doing mitzvahs and Torah. It helps you. It also creates a vessel that very often Kodesh Baruch Hu sends the money through that way. But that's not the reason we go to work, and it doesn't always come that way.
Hashem needs a vessel to send the money?
In this world, he told us that we need vessels. That's the Chovos approach, and that's the way we work. It's a mitzvah to go to work. But that's not the reason we go to work. We have to be very careful. It's very subtle.
Right, what's the difference?
At the reason we go to work, or it's a mitzvah to go to work. Yeah. Again, it's a mitzvah to go to work according to the Chovos Levavos, because if you wouldn't go to work, oy vey.
First I kill my wife.
So hopefully, you should stay at work for 120.
She might kill you.
She killed me.
Yeah, that's probably, that's usually the situation. Yeah. And the real reason we go to work is because the Kodesh Baruch Hu knows, and he's given us a mission in this world. And the mission in this world is not money, it's about becoming a bigger person in so many ways, in ruchnis, in gashmis, in social. And so he gives us this work, this job, because it tests us in so many ways. Right? Mr. Parkov, how you could write a book about all the wisdom you've come to from working. Yes or no?
Yeah, somewhat.
I mean, I hear about it every day. You're telling me all the wisdom from that and this situation.
What was the last one?
Whatever. Me too. I also forgot. There'll be more. But the point is, if you wouldn't have gone to work, you probably wouldn't have that wisdom.
For sure not.
Exactly.
But you should be in the. I mean.
But the point is, a Kodesh Baruch Hu wants us to go. If you're doing it properly,
You have to do it in a Jewish way.
if you do it in a Jewish way with a Kodesh Baruch Hu there, and the reason why you chose this profession is because a Kodesh Baruch Hu wants you to be in there because that's who you are, and you're not selling yourself for Benjamins. You're not selling your soul for a luxury car. You're growing your soul in this place. So that's why we go. Happens to be, it's a nice benefit. It's a beautiful thing that a Kodesh Baruch Hu also sends you money through that way. It's an amazing thing. You're not living the dream. The person who does it properly, he's living the dream.
If anybody came back, anybody's grandparents ever came back today to see the Gashmias that we have, they would not believe it. Even the regular working person who has a job, to see where they live, what kind of house, they never, when they came from the other side, they never saw anything.
So this is part of the point that Chavos Vos is making, is that it's possible. It's possible that a person has more than he needs. Not just what he needs, he maybe even has more than he needs. And you know what? It's even possible that that's actually detrimental. I'm dealing with a situation now. My air conditioner, I think, is too big for the room. It's too powerful for the room.
It's not good.
It's not good. You think that you put in, an 80,000 BTU in your room, you're good to go. No, you know what happens? It short cycles. It doesn't work properly. More doesn't mean better. When it's properly aligned, it's good. If you have more than you need, Mar b'nechasim, Mar b'daigis, Mar b'nechasim, right? Mar b'nechasim, Mar b'daigis, you have less bitachon when you have more money. Mar b'daigis, daigis is a direct antithesis of bitachon. And there's so many other things. See, when a person has trust in a Kodesh Baruch Hu, true trust. Now this takes time. Doesn't happen in a second. You're open to all sorts of thoughts that you wouldn't have been open to without the trust. Again, this is what we're saying. If a person is unsuccessful, he starts to go into stress mode, anxiety mode. How can I just make money? So you mitzamtim your entire life into dollar bills. Whereas the person of bitachon, he could think, 1 second, HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs the world. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is running my life. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants the best for me, and he's doing right now what's best for me. How does this make sense? I thought I wanted that money. It was good for me. Money is good. I need HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm a good guy. I do mitzvahs. I do Torah. I'm not spending it on crazy things. But now you're thinking, why would he do this? Now you've already calmed down the raging fire, which usually takes the mind. Now you can sit and think. We don't have to go crazy. Let's think for a second. Am I supposed to double down on my parnasa? I don't know. I trust the Kodesh Baruch Hu that I'm doing the proper thing. Maybe, now this is where you go with the maybes in a positive way. Maybe, first of all, maybe I already have it. Maybe I already have the money. I don't need it this month. I tell you, I spoke to a guy. He's in real estate. For those who know, it's been a difficult period of time for some of these chevra, or it's a broker, whatever it is. And he was getting no business, nothing. And no business for not just a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months, 3 months. and he comes to me and he's working on himself. And my first question to him is, do you have enough right now? 6 months, a year? He says, yeah. I said, okay, so what are we talking about over here? It's not what people want to hear. They want to know, well, how can I make the money quick? How could I change God's mind so he gives me money? No. Maybe he's testing your bitachon. Maybe he wants to see if you could stay calm in this situation and expand yourself to be okay. I said, maybe he wants you to go back to learning a little bit. This was a person I knew that he wanted to learn a little bit more. The guy's like, you know what, maybe. And he took upon himself, And he learns every day now with the chavrusa, 10 to 11 every day, and even a little bit more. It's still the outer situation, the money situation has not yet cleared up. But right now, he's pretty calm, and he's now learning. Could you imagine a person just wasted all of the 6 months just complaining and worrying and stressing, not really making too much more, and having gone nothing for it? He's now gained, you know how many hours of learning he's gained? And a new perspective of life. And a Emunah and Bitachon. And he's pretty calm. Wow. Bitachon expands us. Maybe it was good I didn't get this check. You know, maybe, ready for this? This is a big one. Person is not making as much as he used to make, and his car that he leases, which is an expensive car, it's getting a little bit difficult to pay for. Maybe, again, it's a maybe. Maybe Kodesh Baruch Hu doesn't want me to have that car. Maybe he wants me to have a Honda Civic. Maybe. How do I know what's better for me? Right? We always think what we're used to is what's good for us, and therefore Hashem should continue to provide for us exactly as we always had. Maybe, and all maybes, maybe you were davening to a Kodesh Baruch Hu recently that you want to daven better. You were davening to a Kodesh Baruch Hu that you want to work on your ruchnius. You were davening to him. Kodesh Baruch Hu, Rabbi inspired me. I really want to work on my learning. I really want to work on my daven. I really want to work on my ruchnius and my bitach. I really want to work on it. Kodesh Baruch Hu says he's upstairs. He's with the malachim. Okay, guys, let's huddle. How are we going to help this guy out? So one malach says, you know what? I think that car that he's driving, it's not good for him. It costs a lot of money, so therefore he has to put more time into work, and he's stressing. He has a little bit of gaiva from it. If we pull that away from him, he'll be able to daven better, he'll be able to learn better, and he'll be able to have better midos. And everybody's like, yeah, they're cheering. And Kodesh Baruch Hu says, well, how does he do that? He doesn't give you the same exact parnasa he gave you every single month. You still have food, you still have, it's okay, you can still pay your mortgage, but in the luxury area, that car is a little bit too much. Now, maybe that's the answer to your tefillas. Who would ever think like that? Maybe giving in the luxury car for a Honda Civic, saving myself, whatever, $900 a month, I don't know the numbers at all, I don't, whatever it is, maybe that's the answer to my tefillas of being a better davener and having more ruchnius. See, what we think is, we want everything we have, and then more. Just keep piling it on. I want to have the house, the car, everything exactly the way I have it, perfect gashmias, and the ruchnius on top. Kodesh Baruch Hu says that's not always how it goes. Sometimes your life, you have a happier life when you're memait, when you take away things. If mar b'nechasim, mar b'daigim, if you're the kind of guy, Hashem says, you're the kind of guy who's mar b'nechasim, mar b'daigim. One day you should be zocha that you're not that. You should be mar b'nechasim and mar b'bitachon. But until you're there, Hashem says, I know you. Mar b'nechasim is actually mar b'daigim. And if you want to have more ruchnius, you need to have less daigim. You need to have more bitachon. So you could daven properly, you could learn properly. So I'm going to take away some nechasim to help your ruchnius. Hashem says, isn't this amazing? So if you're a Baal Bitachon, you could think that way. Hashem wants the best for me. Maybe he's taking this away from my best. Maybe I even daven for that. Is that crazy? But if you don't think that way, you're lost in a sea of selfishness. And you can't see straight. You just want everything exactly the way it once was. Because I'm not asking for millions. I'm just give me back what I was always getting. But that's not living with bitachon. Then you're not trusting him. Then you're just relying on yourself and living in a world of daigim. Very subtle.
What's the conversation then if you're a Baal Bitachon?
Well, this is what it is. You start to run through all the maybes. I mean, again, Muskal Rishon, you have a situation coming at you which objectively is not so happy, so good. Come from a Kodesh Baruch Hu. He loves me. It's for my best. He knows better. You go through the Yisod of Bitachon. Now, if it's for the best, how could this be for the best for me? How could this be for my best? Now, we explained already before, as a chazara, you can always say one thing. I get to work in my emunah bitachon. At the very least, when a rough situation comes, you have the opportunity to work on your emunah bitachon, to try to stay calm, to try to trust in the Kodesh Baruch Hu. At the very least, you could always, correct?
Yeah,
and if you stay strong, that's how you build muscles. Now, you don't build muscles by lifting like this all day long. That's not how you build muscles. That would just be ridiculous. You got to pack on the weight. Are you ready for that? Or you're not ready for that, right? But then, even after that, So you say, this is for my best. How could it be for my best? At the very least, I get to work on my emunah b'tachon. If you can continue, now you can start expanding your mind. Well, how else? Plus, that's for sure. Lock that in. I get to work on my emunah b'tachon, and by me staying calm right now, I'm clearly working on my emunah b'tachon in a real sense. The very fact that I'm thinking like this, I'm working on my emunah b'tachon, which last week, last month, last year, I'd be, who knows where I'd be. Now you can continue. Maybe I already have the money in arrears. I already have it in the bank. If you could think like that, then that gets to keep you calm when this happens again and again and again. Maybe I have too much. Again, no one thinks like that. Maybe I have too much. Maybe I should give more tzedakah. Maybe Kodesh Baruch is doing this because I didn't give my meiser. Maybe I actually have to give off. So all of you come to is mitzvahs emunah b'tachon. Not doubling down in work, not working long hours, not stressing. You could push it, live life. And even better, this is where we grow. You dafka grow in these situations. If you have the bitachon eyes, you can think this way. And hopefully it'll settle down into your heart and you can feel this way. Right? At least we have to think this way. But if you don't, everybody's been there before. We know where our minds go. We start worrying about our 2-year-old's college education. Right? You didn't get one check 1 month. Honey, I don't think we're going to be able to pay for the 2-year-old's college. That's where our heads go. It's crazy. You've just worried about years in a matter of seconds. You lost yourself. We don't want to lose ourselves. Kodesh Baruch doesn't want us to lose ourselves. He tests us because he wants us to grow, like any test in this world. What time is it? No idea.
10 to 19.
Okay. Alternatively, let's keep going for a second. Alternatively, it is possible that his livelihood will come to him through another means in which he did not put effort. Right? The way that I put my effort in, I did not receive exactly what I expected. Expectations are bad, right? We've already discussed that. That's not bitachon expectations. Maybe it'll come from a different way. Maybe in a positive sense. Not every maybe has to go doubt, down, dark. Maybe I'm going to die. Maybe lose all my money. Maybe negative. Maybe choshech, right? That comes from the half, how do you say it? Glass half empty. Yeah. That's from that approach. That's from the negative approach. Why did you go there? Because that's how we're trained, naturally. Maybe he wants to get me in a different way. Maybe this is for my betterment. Maybe if I struggle with this, but I'm coding this, I can help other people who are struggling. Maybe in a positive way. Why is maybe always low? That's coming from a deep-rooted lack of bitachon. And therefore, our life has this inner negativity, which, as long as everything's going well, you don't even know about it. It doesn't come out. There's some people it comes out very much. We stay away from those people. But there's some people who live happy, great, everything's great. But when something doesn't go right, then it really comes out. And you don't always realize, you think that's normal. It's not normal. I mean, not according to the eyes of bitachon. It's normal in the eyes of the goyim, in the eyes of non-bitachon. It's normal for a person who's growing, but let's be on the growing train. The Al'eza Panim Shia, let's go back, let's try to finish these next two paragraphs. The Al'eza Panim Shia, Roilu Lisasik Besibos Va'al Yarbim Echazer Lein, Kshem Ru'uyos Lemidosov, Ugufo Lamunosu Lamo Kasher Kidamti. In any event, after you set yourself mindful bitachon, in any event, it is still fitting for him to busy himself with means that could bring him livelihood. Don't stop going to that job if the payment didn't come in this month or even 6 months, provided he should not be lax in pursuit of the ishtadlus, provided they are fitting for his characteristic traits, his physical strength, his faith, and his world to come, as I've prefaced earlier. Again, the Chovos Vos taught us very clearly, with our emunah and bitachon in a Kodesh Baruch, with that, locked in, when a person looks for a parnasa, he's supposed to look for that which a Kodesh implanted within him, based on his characteristic traits, based on who he is. Go to find a parnasa that you can expand yourself in that way. Right? With trust, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants your betterment. If you've done that and you're living the dream, just the dream's not paying the bills this second, stick with it. Stick with it. It could be a little bit of a shift. Speak to your local Orthodox rabbi or your local Orthodox Baal Bitachon, right? Not just a rabbi who's not versed in this. That's be someone who knows what we're talking about over here. They're all good, of course. But sometimes when the goings go tough, and you have bitachon, and you can think, right? Goings go tough. You have bitachon, so now you're in still yosher thinking mode. Now you think, is this job actually aligned with who I am? Is it actually what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants me to do? Maybe it's not. Maybe this is a chance to rethink things. There's no psak here. The psak is think. The psak is don't go into emergency mode. I have to do the same thing I've always been doing because that's what I've always been doing. And my father had a job for 60 years, so I should also. Maybe not. You're not your father in a lot of ways. So the point is to think. Maybe I'm not aligned. Maybe I can realign myself.
That could also be the opposite. A person could be negative and be in emergency mode and think, I have to change everything. And really, there shouldn't be.
Correct.
He said that.
That's what with the bitachon, it sets you straight and you're thinking positively. Yeah. Okay. You might need a friend for this because we might not be ready for this. If you don't have the bitachon of the first 100 pages, don't try to use, you have to be very careful not to use the tools of bitachon before you have the yesodus of bitachon. Because if you just use the tools, it's like, instead of buying a lottery ticket, I'm just going to change my job because the Chovos says, I have to align myself, and therefore I should go to get a job. But if you don't actually trust in him, and you're just doing it because you're just groping for something, you're in big trouble. You understand? You have to have the Yisodus of Bitachon, and then use the tools that are pulling from the Yisodus of Bitachon. Yeah.
Can you repeat what you said? Don't use the tools. You just said don't use the tools.
Don't use the tools of Bitachon, which is Parak Daled, what we're learning right now.
That's the foundation.
Before locking in the Yesodos. And when you're using the tools, you have to bring the Yesodos in. That's why I keep saying it again and again.
Is a different way to phrase that, don't use the language of Bitachon without having it baked in. I'm trying to think of a different
also,
way.
I'll give you an example.
Using the tools, meaning I'm saying the saying, but I'm not believing it. Like, is that what you're trying to say?
Well, it's not just saying it. I'll give you an example. Someone came to me,
or even taking action, not just saying.
Yes.
I got it.
Exactly.
Using the tool, the language, and actually actionable things that seemingly look like bitachon that are not founded in a foundation of really solid.
Your personal bitachon.
Bitachon, right? Because if you're just talking the talk and walking the walk, even without really.
Now you're really off.
It's not just thinking. It's just like, I don't know the word. I'm trying to think of the word. You didn't use it.
You're not living it. You're not living it.
Yeah, you can talk it and walk it, but it's not you.
Correct.
It's not authentic. Oh, it's not authentic. That's it. Okay, that's the word.
Then don't beat yourself up because you're.
If you lack the authenticity of your, if you lack the authenticity of the walk and talk of bitachon, you're not going to be able to actualize really what the process is.
You're not going to be able to trust. For example, let's say you learn through Shaar HaBitachon, you redo it once, right? So you get the picture. Yeah, Hashem loves me. I get it. I believe it. You believe it. But it's not downloaded yet. And then you go into where he talks about Bitachon and Ishtadlus, right? Everybody wants to know. Let's just jump to the Ishtadlus part, right? Everybody wants to know. How can I, do this thing and pretty much make money and be happy, Well, the Chovos says that Hashem implanted within me certain tchunas and nefesh, certain characteristics, traits, and I should just go do that because that's what Hashem wants from me, and I can, be who I am and be aligned with myself, and therefore I'm going to go and be a musician because I'm good at music. It's who I am, and that's what Hashem wants from me. So I'm going to go be a musician. Now he goes to be a musician, and he has not downloaded the first half of Chovos. He has not downloaded everything that's from Kodesh Baruch Hu in real time. Hashem wants the best for me, but all this stuff. And now he's doing the musician thing, and he's not making the money right now. Things aren't coming in. I mean, he went to make the money, and his parents start to ask him. His wife starts to ask him, "What's going to be? What's going to be? What's going to be?" He's like, "Well, I'm doing the thing that I'm just trying to be myself. I don't know. These are good questions. I don't." And he starts to unravel, because again, he's just using that tool called "be yourself" when you go to a job, but he doesn't have all of the actual yesodas of bitachon down. He might lose, because when the goings go tough, he doesn't have the bitachon fortitude to stay strong and say, no, this is what a Kodesh Baruch Hu wants from me, and I'm going to stay true to it. He might lose himself saying, oh, I thought this is what a Kodesh Baruch Hu wants, but I'm not making the money, so I guess it's not what he wants. Let me do something else. He's not going to be strong in it. That's just one example. But let's just finish up this last paragraph. We're going to end over here. Yeah, combined with these efforts, with the hishtadlus, stay true. He should rely on God, that He will not forsake him in his time of need, nor weaken him, nor ignore him when misfortune befalls him. Kodesh Baruch Hu will not leave you. What does that mean? He won't leave you? It might mean different things. It might mean He'll give you money. It might mean He'll give you strength and bitachon. As the verse states, Nachum, it's part of Navi, yeah? People don't even know what that is. The Lord is good. He has a stronghold on a day of trouble and is cognizant of those who trust Him. So before the day with bitachon, you go into hishtadlus. If you make, rely on the Kodesh Baruch Hu. If you miss, rely on the Kodesh Baruch Hu. Keep doing what you're doing, and at the end, continue to rely and trust. Because trust means you stay calm, cool, and collected. I was told, calm, cool, and collected. You can stay b'simcha, even when the external things aren't going well.
Amen.
I'm surprised that they didn't quote the pasuk Hashlecha Hashem Yavcha V'Hikach, but with the part of the pasuk that people don't know that follows that, which is Lo Yitein La'olam Mot Latzadik. Why? Because the answer is right there. If you cast your burden upon Hashem, then He'll sustain you. But you have to know the second part of the pasuk, which is Lo Yitein La'olam Mot Latzadik. So what does that mean? It means everybody has to be a tzaddik. So everybody says, okay, how do I be a tzaddik? To be a tzaddik, the first person that should come to mind is Yosef HaTzaddik. And what was the midah of Yosef HaTzaddik? He was Kodesh his Yetzer. If a person is Kodesh his Yetzer, I really believe that the moment that a person is Kodesh his Yetzer, whatever his Yetzer is, if I'm Kodesh my Yetzer, right there stands a tzaddik, and Hashem won't let you fail. You could be Kodesh your Yetzer.
Sounds like an amazing plan.
Amen.
Yeah. Rabbi Nachman talks, he says that the Shem Tzaddik is dependent on a person being Kodesh his Yetzer. He says also for Midos. It doesn't just mean Yetzer V'Tayis, it means Midos and
everything.
That's how he defines it. He defines Tzaddik differently than...
the second you covet your I always wanted to know a source of that idea. Where'd you just say?
Rabbi Nachman, I forgot to look it up. Where he says Tzaddik is someone who conquers basically his Yetzers, and he goes into Midos.
But
not like the Alter Rebbe. Different.
No, I got it.
I don't know what the Alter Rebbe says.
Tzaddik is impossible to attain. You have to be born with it, pretty much.
That's Benoni, right?
You can be Benoni. You should be a happy Benoni, not a depressed Benoni. That's why. But Rabbi Nachman says no. It's not easy to become a tzaddik. He says you have to completely eradicate.
Even a vanity is like impossible to.
It is. So Benoni needs bitachon. If you don't bitachon with a Benoni, you're done.
I don't know if you can beat. How do you become a Benoni without being about the other?
If you sit in one time, you're not a vanity.
I understand. No, we should have a shul called Kahal.
What?
Kahal Benoni.
I don't know about that. Membership might be.
No, yeah, it'll be very low.
A lot of